Alright guys, so in this one we're just going to be going through how to make a basic AI chatbot using n8n, no code. So pretty basic one here, but I think yeah, what we'll see over the next couple of weeks is we'll really start building on how to integrate these into more real world scenarios. So for you guys that aren't familiar with n8n, we'll basically break this down step by step, exactly how to go through it. So as you can see while I was talking there before, just ran a bit of a really quick test where we can see just essentially me having a conversation with an AI chatbot. So again, for those who aren't sure, we'll start really fresh and we'll go through this step by step. So obviously first thing you're going to do is come to n8n, create yourself a new workflow. And yeah, I always like to label them, make them nice and neat. Obviously, we're not going to give it a name like that. We're going to just start off with something pretty basic like AI Chatbot. So this one's pretty simple. It's only got 3 nodes. Obviously, for the sake of this, you could integrate it into other things like Telegram, Discord, webhooks as well if you're wanting to implement, say, this into a website. And we'll have a future video coming out pretty shortly, basically going through that because I'm actually in the process at the moment of integrating an AI chatbot function into the website for workflow automation. So what we'll do is we'll delete all these and we'll go right from the start. So obviously first thing, like with any workflow, it needs a trigger, something that's going to basically tell it how to start and when to start. So for this example, we're just going to go with a basic on-chat message. And this is going to be the thing that basically decides when this workflow starts. So with any, I guess, chatbot like this, one of the next and most critical points is going to be your AI agent. So what we're going to do is just click on the little plus here, come over to AI agent, and then click on this one here. We're going to have a few options in here that we'll go through in a little bit more detail. So first thing is obviously your the source or where it's getting the information and what it needs to the question that it needs to answer or the thing it needs to provide a response for. So for this one and this video, we're going to just keep this as connected chat trigger node, and we don't need to change anything for the moment, which is great. There are some options in here in terms of, say, system message, which is really helpful. You can use this to basically help provide context on what the purpose of this AI agent is. By default, it will say you are a helpful assistant, but again, in future videos, we'll build out how you can use this to be, I guess, a lot more effective than just this default message here. But for now, we can just leave it like this. You've got a few more options down here, including your chat model, your memory, and tools. So we'll touch on some of that, not all of it, not in a heap of detail, but just to give you guys a bit of an idea. So now if I was to try and actually interact with this, we'll see that we got an error. So we need a chat model subnode to be connected in order for this to work. So essentially, we need a brain for this to be able to answer the questions, figure out what it is that we're trying to ask. So what we want to do is just come down to chat model here. And what we can see is all the different options that we have available for us. So it's really up to you in terms of what you want to utilize. For me, and today we're going to go through the OpenRouter chat model. And the reason why is OpenRouter provides access to pretty much every single, I guess, platform or AI platform out there. By default, generally speaking, I will use GPT 4.1 mini, just the best combination that I find in terms of, I guess, response, but also versus price as well. So it's on the cheaper side. I'm currently doing some experimenting with the GPT-5 models as well. And yeah, if I find anything there, I find that more worthwhile, then definitely I'll share that in future videos. You do have other options in here as well, which we're not going to touch today, but you can set some things like, for example, the maximum number of tokens. So if you want to limit the cost of the responses being provided, you can use that there. So now what we'll see is if I go back and try hi again, I'm getting a response. So the output, hello, how can I assist you today? So one thing to keep in mind before this will actually work as well, and a really critical step, is that we need to connect our credentials. So I've got some here already set up, ready to go, but what I'll do is walk you through the OpenRouter credentials and how we can set them up for here. They'll generally be a fairly similar process for any sort of integration that you're looking at. And we do have a bit of a master class video coming of how to connect to all your really critical types of credentials. So keep an eye out for that one. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up to create new credential, and essentially OpenRouter is very basic in the sense that all you're needing to do is just provide an API key. If ever you're not sure, you can click on the Open Docs. It will take you to their site, and it will basically talk you through how to integrate them. Similarly as well, all your other nodes will also have similar ones to this. So all you need to do is come over to the OpenRouter website. If you don't have an account, you'll need to create one. I already have one, so essentially all I'll do is come over to keys. What you can see is all the different keys that I have, or the different key that I have, but for this time we're going to create a new one. We need to give it a name, so let's just go with something like demo. If you want to set a limit for how many credits you can, and there's also some other advanced settings in here, but not really required. Next thing we'll do is go create. And what that's going to do is generate us a new key. So what I'm going to do is just copy this one, make sure that if you need to save them somewhere, you save them, but because I'm just creating this for the sake of the video, I will delete this as soon as it's done. So once we've copied that one, we just want to come back to n8n, and we're just literally going to paste that into there. So if you do want to see it in full, you can click the expression, but generally speaking, you don't need to worry about that. We're going to click save, and we can see that our credentials are saved and working. And then if we wanted to give it a name to define it from a different credential, we could go something like demo. So we'll save that again. It's tested and it's all good to go. So now we can see that that's good to go. So in here, again, by default, generally goes to GPT 4.1 mini. Probably something to keep in mind, particularly while you're testing. If you're not too fussed about the actual, I guess, cost, or sorry, I should say the quality of the output, and you're just focused on getting things set up so that you can do some initial testing. A really good thing about OpenRouter is they have a bunch of free models, so they won't cost you anything to use. So for example, I'm going to just use the DeepSeek R1 free here. So what you can see is some of these will have some information when it's talking about 14 billion, 70 billion. That's basically just like the database of information. So the larger the database, the more information that it basically has access to, and essentially the higher tier, I guess you would say, the model is. So for example, we're just going to use this one here. So you can really use anyone that you want. Whenever making any changes, you want to just always click save. So now we'll just do another test. And what we can see, our agent's working here. It's connected to OpenRouter, and basically it's working through. So what you can see is it's a little bit slower than what the other one was. But again, while we're testing, this is a free one, so can't really complain too much about the fact that it's free. So what's probably a really good step to move on to next is just around the memory. So the memory, this one here, basically will help us, or help the AI agent, I should say, keep track of past conversations. So for example, if I was to say, hello, my name is Patrick, we can see that it'll work through here, and it going, cool, awesome, your name's Patrick, nice to meet you, how can I assist you? So if I were to put another message and say, today is Friday, and we wait for it to provide a response, what we'll then do essentially is just basically then test its ability to retain information. So if I go back and go, do you remember my name? What we'll see is that it will essentially just return a result or a response saying, I'm not sure, I don't remember your name. The reason why is it doesn't have any memory. It has no way to keep track of anything that we've discussed so far. And you can literally see that in here. So what we're going to do is go to memory, simple memory, just for the sake of this video. Depending on your knowledge and as you start to explore, there's definitely some really good use cases for using things like Postgres rather than just the simple memory. So what we'll do is we'll reconnect these, and then within the simple memory here, a couple of things to look at. So the session ID, so basically understanding the context or where it's getting the information from. We can see one of the outputs within the simple memory here of our chat is the ID here. So it will essentially maintain a database specifically for that session ID. So that's obviously really helpful in the sense that if you have multiple people, say on a website, interacting with a chatbot, it's able to differentiate who it's talking to and only remember the required information for that specific person and then pull that information. Other one down here is the context window length. So essentially what this is just the number of messages of information that it will remember. So for example, you might set it to 10. So that essentially is telling you that it will remember the last 10 messages worth of information that you've sent through. So now that I have that connected and we want to save it, what we can do is go, hi, my name is Patrick. And then we'll just start getting the next message ready. Cool. And so we'll go for the next message. So today is Friday, and while it's working through that, and you can see it's saving information into here with the item being passed through. And then what we can do is come back here again and go, what is my name? And this time it should be able to then hit the simple memory, and pull out that data being that my name is Patrick, and it will have that history and that memory of the conversation that we've had. So we can see it's just using the Open Router to interact with that learning model, and you can see here it's pulled the memory, and we can see your name is Patrick, so it remembers. And if I again go, what day is it today? It should then, based off the information that we provided it before, basically go out and say, you can say it's Friday. So you can, so it remembers. Awesome. So it kind of makes it a little bit more useful, particularly if you're using it for something like the example I gave around implementing it for something like a website to help customers. And so in future videos, we'll basically go through how you can kind of continue to build on this, and essentially how you can actually use it in a real life situation. So yeah, just a really quick one today. That was pretty much it in terms of today. So just keep an eye out for future videos coming. If you do see any workflows like this or other ones that you do like, feel free to let me know in the comments. If there's interest, definitely keen to share these for free. I'm not here to try and hide behind paywalls and things like that. Just really trying to build a bit of a community around n8n AI automation and everything that it can offer us. If you are as well interested in adopting AI solutions like this or more advanced ones that we'll go through in the future, feel free to visit our website or reach out directly via email. All that information will be in the description of this video. In the meantime, yeah, let me know your thoughts. If there's any particular website integration workflow creation that you're really keen to learn a little bit more about, let me know and we'll see what we can do. But in the meantime, just keep an eye out for new videos, new content. We'll be dropping some new videos over the next couple of days, and yeah, really excited to see what you guys think.